I can promise you that none of you are that person whose hand I shake secretly saying, yay, I'm never going to see them again. Seriously. Yeah. I was listening to that. Before I begin, I want to share that I have been asking our dear, beloved Helen for help this morning, help to get through this. Helen was a dear friend and mentor and somebody very much responsible for the path I'm on at the Chaplaincy Institute of Maine, where she also went. When we were with somebody else and talking about it, I would say with great delight, I'm following in Helen's footsteps, and she would sort of wave the comment aside because that was the way she was. She had no idea. She had no idea how much I truly aspired to be more like her. Thank you, Helen. Let me put my tenure here into context. When I came on staff at the FRS, Bill Clinton was president of the United States. Remember him? I had this thought the other week, and I actually had to check the facts. It couldn't be true, but it is. I was hired in May of 2000. It was, of course, the following November when we all became acquainted with the term hanging chads, and the Supreme Court discerned who our next president would be. Put in this context, it's astounding to me to think about the major changes that have taken place in our world in the time that I've served here, from 2000 until now, and just sit with that for a moment. Likewise, I have gone through significant change. When I first met David Turner and Amy Weichert for coffee across the street to talk about the Director of Religious Education position, I was pregnant with my first baby. That baby, as many of you know, spoke eloquently from this pulpit a year ago about the climate crisis and his work in water resources engineering. I've spent almost my entire middle age here, depending, of course, on your definition of middle age. But certainly, pretty much anyone with a pulse will experience significant change, and one would hope growth, between their early 30s and late 50s. The congregation, too, has changed. We've had changes in ministerial leadership and staff, governance structure, and physical space. Culture changes, many of which are hard to articulate. Much of the membership has changed, though I do see plenty of faces here today that I've looked upon for all these years. And a lot that have gone away and are back. Today, I'm thinking of all the beloved friends who have passed on. I see their faces among you, feel the joy of their presence. Their lives are forever woven into the fabric of this community. We are changed for having had them with us. The opening lines from one of my favorite hymns says, "For all the saints who from their labors rest, thy name most holy be forever blessed." Let's take a moment now to remember them and welcome them in. Please speak their names if you wish. Thank you. They are with us. It's been exceedingly difficult for me to decide what I want to say this morning. While establishing that the world has changed, and I've changed, and the FRS has changed in the almost quarter century since I've been here, I could just as easily make a case that perhaps we have not changed so very much. I have simply become more myself over time, and you continue to love as you have always loved. Seek truth, speak truth, be together in joy and sorrow, and do whatever you can to bring more peace into the world. That has not changed. While considering what to say this morning, I've known that goodbye isn't what I want to say. Not only because, as articulated in the earlier reading, goodbye is altogether insufficient, but also because it feels impossible. Though as staff, my boundaries are different than yours, and I've always, by necessity, had a different relationship to the community. There is no denying that you are my community. You are my people, and I love you, and I don't want to say goodbye. Let me tell you then, in as articulate a way as I can, what you have meant to me. And I'm going to ask you to participate a little bit in this, only by standing when I ask you to. So the folks who grew up as children and or youth in Young Church, if you could just stand, please. For your benefit, I learned to embrace imperfection, and for that I'm eternally grateful. I learned that it was okay to make mistakes. In fact, that was what brought realness to Sunday mornings. I used to like to say that one of my purposes here was to model imperfection for you, and I hope you absorbed some of that. Mistakes are good. They're how we learn. And you are beautiful just as you are. From you, I learned week after week that joy and sorrow coexist. Indeed, one cannot exist without the other. Sometimes they exist so closely that they merge to form a jarro. Remember the jarros? Sunday after Sunday, you modeled what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist with your endless curiosity and questions about everything, with your care for people who are marginalized or struggling. You raised money and awareness of the inaccessibility of clean water for so many in the world by walking around downtown Newburyport in a water walk. You engaged in lighthearted trash talk through penny wars. You wrote letters and made crafts for our sponsored Unitarian student in the Philippines, Cheryl, and you raised money to help her go to school. You made rockets out of film canisters and Alka-Seltzers. You wrote songs, made up skits, and acted out stories. You baked bread. You took apart computers. You visited a mosque, a Hindu temple, and a synagogue. You shared outcomes of soccer games, so many soccer games. Grief over the death of animal companions, the birthday that was just 2 months, 4 weeks, and 3 days away. The friend's birthday that was just 2 months, 4 weeks, and 3 days away. I have snapshots of these moments in my head and running movies. And through it all, I hear your questions and laughter, and sometimes your pain and heartbreak. Those of you who stuck around through high school, you hosted waffle Sundays and slept overnight in the sanctuary. You turned the sanctuary into a haunted church, which was amazing, but that nobody came to because it was the night of a October nor'easter. You watched the sunrise from Plum Island, spent weekends in service in Orland, Maine, built outhouses and beds on the Pine Ridge Reservation, walked in 113-degree heat through the Arizona desert to drop water for migrants. You have always inspired me. You made me laugh, love, and wonder. Sometimes you made me pull my hair out. But even that, those of you who made me pull my hair out, once upon a time, you grew up into the most incredible young adults. It's been an honor to watch you grow up and to have a small part in your lives. And you can sit down. Thank you. Young church volunteers, including teachers, youth advisors, and mentors, OWL facilitators. Oh, God bless you, OWL facilitators. Please stand. Thank you for helping create the incredible community of Young Church. Week after week, year after year, you came in to gently guide our young Unitarian Universalists in their quest to understand the world and themselves. You came in with humility, knowing that you were there really as co-learners with the children and youth. I relied heavily on you to ensure that Sunday mornings went smoothly. You rose to the occasion by being flexible enough to come up with activities to do if the one I gave you bombed, or if you had extra time. You put up with me when I couldn't help with good solutions for challenging dynamics. You served with warmth and humor, and I always knew when I came in on Sunday morning that I had this community of support, dear folks who would metaphorically hold my hand. You were the village, helping to raise our children. And I'm looking at you now, and I have so many memories of, sitting downstairs in circle and just the laughter and joy and just, thank you, thank you. And you may be seated. People with whom I served on steering committees, leadership groups, committees, or with whom I led programs. Please stand. Thank you for being the workhorses of the church. Together we wrestled with questions going to the heart of Unitarian Universalism. As I see some of you sitting, you should be standing. Thank you, Sue Fasoli. Thank you, Cameron, Ted. I mean, come on, people. There's more of you. Amy, come on. Howard, yes. Thank you. Oh, no, I lost my place. We reflected on the beloved community we aspire to be and wondered how our work could most effectively move us toward that vision. We thought about the lives of our parishioners and how our work could be of most benefit. Through it, you've been thoughtful, generous with your time and talent, and have brought depth and insight to a wide range of issues that have helped our community grow. You've challenged me and humbled me when I thought I knew the best way of doing things. And we also had a lot of laughs. I have so many memories of sitting around a table or on a Zoom call and laughing with great gusto as we've touched on the absurd or simply found something humorous in the mundane. I so often left our meetings not just with a lengthy to-do list, but with a feeling of joy and connection. You may be seated. Thank you. Mary, you should have stood up. Staff, past and present, please stand. And maybe we could, maybe we could have a little round of applause for ourselves. I see you up there. What can I say to you, my compadres, the only other people who really understand what it's like to be church staff? Because I'll share something with the rest of you. It can be lonely and awkward. Always negotiating boundaries, always discerning what kinds of frustrations we can share with parishioners and what we need to keep to ourselves. Staff colleagues, I feel like we walk a journey together every day. And I've been blessed to work with the absolute best. You are so dedicated to your work and the community and work tirelessly, honestly. Justin and Diane and Donnie and Stan, Cynthia is not here, and Mara is downstairs. And if there is anybody more qualified to do children's ministry than Mara Flynn, I don't know who it is. And I include myself in that, honestly. Thank you for walking the journey with me. And staff who have returned today, Kristen and Kristen are here, and Sharon. They left during the pandemic, and they didn't get this. They left without fanfare. There was no party. Please, today, please share your good thoughts and your appreciation for them downstairs, as I'm sure they'll be there. I hope they'll be there, so thank you. And Harold, my cherished friend and mentor, the one who taught me how to be a religious leader. Thank you. I'm forever grateful to you and Sabrina, because you're a package deal now. And you might not all know Harold. He was here for only 21 years. He was a short time. And people who participated in programs with me, please stand. From seeing light to writing your spiritual autobiography to the Tuesday morning group and the film forum, I've had the honor of hearing your stories. You have so generously shared your lives, your joys and sorrows, your fears, triumphs, challenges, questions. You've filled me with wonder and hope. I've so often left our gatherings feeling humbled by the depth of sharing and grateful for the opportunity to receive it. Truly, I am grateful. This is what the work is all about. Thank you. And please indulge me for a moment while I thank my family. You don't need to stand. But you can come. Thank you for being involved here at the First Religious Society. It's made my work that much more meaningful. It was always my favorite terms when Steve taught in Young Church, to watch him build relationships with the group he was with from preschool all the way up through early teens. That was great fun. And Isabel and Liam and Lily, those Sunday nights, the meetings for coming of age and justice trip preparation were that much more special with you all there. I feel like we got to know each other in ways that we otherwise might not have. So thank you for everything. I feel like I need to thank the Academy. But there's the rest of you. Those who might be wondering who the heck I even am, or what you wandered into this morning. I'm sorry. I regret that our paths won't converge, because I know you have something to teach me. One thing I've learned from my years here is that everyone has an infinite cachet of stories, and each one I've heard has made my life richer. I hope that you'll find connections here, people with whom you'll exchange stories and share joys and sorrows. Sadly, for me, it won't be me, but may it be somebody. I want to share, at the risk of sounding a little bit braggy, I want to share that in the wonderful emails and cards that I've received since announcing that I'm retiring, a common theme has been evident. In expressing your appreciation for me, so many of you thanked me in particular for seeing something in you that you were either unaware of or that you had little faith in. You expressed gratitude for my having asked you to do something that you never imagined yourself doing, or for pointing out a spark you didn't know existed, or for simply having faith that you had a gift for something. I really hadn't noticed this about myself until I began receiving these messages. And now I see that it makes sense. I've always seen the treasure in you. I perhaps hadn't noticed it because it comes so naturally. I see the treasure in you as individuals, and I see the treasure in this FRS community. The treasure is right here, right now, just as in the story. Look around. We're all a part of it. I am honored to have been a part of this living tradition, this community of saints that reaches back almost 300 years. Just as you are part of this living tradition. The community is different and richer for our having been here. We will all, at one time or another, find ourselves saying goodbye, even when goodbye isn't what we want to say. So when it comes to your time, what is it that you'd like to look back on and say, I did that, or I was that? Or maybe you'll simply look back and say, I brought my authentic self to the First Religious Society, and know that you've enriched our community because that's exactly what we needed. Goodbye isn't what I want to say. So I will say thank you. And I will say you are a wonder. And I will say, in the words of Rilke, I am so glad you are here. It helps me realize how beautiful my world is. Thank you.